Welcome to this video where we dive into the real experience of failing Uber's system design interview. Emily shares her journey, the questions she faced, and the lessons learned from rejection. If you're preparing for a tech interview, especially at Uber, this story will give you insights beyond coding rounds. We'll walk through the interview setup, the surge pricing system design challenge, and the critical mistakes that led to rejection. Let's start by understanding why system design interviews are so pivotal for senior engineering roles, and what makes Uber's process unique. Uber's onsite loop consists of 4 or 5 rounds, each lasting about an hour and typically spread over 2 days. The system design round is the make-or-break moment for senior candidates. You can ace every coding round, but if you stumble here, rejection is likely. Emily used Excalidraw for diagramming during her virtual interview, a tool she recommends having ready before you start. The interviewer's main question was to design Uber's real-time surge pricing engine, a system that ingests millions of GPS pings per second, calculates supply versus demand, and updates pricing multipliers every 30 seconds. Interviewer framed the challenge clearly. Uber needs a system that calculates dynamic pricing for every hexagonal zone in a city in near real time. The system must consider current ride requests, available drivers, historical demand patterns, and external factors like weather or events. The pricing multiplier must update at least every 60 seconds. This isn't just a simple box and arrow diagram. It's a complex, high-scale, real-time solution. Emily's first instinct was to start drawing boxes, but she paused to clarify requirements, a move that distinguishes senior candidates. Before jumping into the design, Emily asked clarification questions, a key step for senior-level thinking. She confirmed functional requirements. The system must compute surge multipliers per geographic zone, ingest real-time supply and demand, and reflect current conditions. Non-functional requirements included latency, multiplier recalculated within 60 seconds, scale, supporting millions of users across hundreds of cities, availability, 99.99% uptime, and accuracy versus speed. Asking about fallback behavior on failure signaled her senior mindset, earning a positive response from the interviewer. Emily's secret weapon was her knowledge of Uber's H3 open-source library. She explained how geographic space is partitioned using H3 hexagonal indexing at resolution 7, resulting in hexagons roughly 5 square kilometers in area. Each hex has a unique 64-bit ID, and hexagons have uniform neighbor distances, making demand spread calculations more accurate than square grids. This impressed the interviewer and set Emily apart. She described the high-level data flow. Driver GPS pings and ride requests are mapped to hex IDs, counters are updated, and the surge calculator computes multipliers. The surge pricing system consists of several key components. First, the H3 Hex Mapper converts raw latitude and longitude into H3 hex IDs in sub-millisecond time. Supply and demand counters use sliding windows, storing data in Redis keyed by hex ID. The surge calculator, implemented as a streaming job like Apache Flink, runs every 30-60 seconds to compute multipliers. Finally, the pricing cache writes results to a low-latency Redis cluster, which the pricing service reads from to display surge pricing to riders. Each component plays a vital role in real-time operation. Interviewer pushed Emily to explain how the surge calculator actually computes the multiplier. She started with a simple formula: surge multiplier equals max 1, 0, demand count / supply count target ratio. However, she quickly noted this was the naive version. The real calculation layers in neighbor hex blending, historical baselines, and external signals like weather and events. Neighbor hex blending prevents extreme surges in isolated hexes by considering supply in adjacent zones. Historical baselines distinguish normal demand from event-driven spikes, and external signals add context. Failure scenarios are critical in system design interviews. Emily described how the system handles Flink job crashes mid-calculation. The fallback is a stale cache. Redis keys have a TTL of 120 seconds, so if no new multiplier is written, the old one stays. Riders see a slightly stale surge, which is preferable to no surge or a crash. Failed Flink events go to a dead letter queue, Kafka topic, triggering alerts for engineers. If the surge calculator is down for more than 3 minutes, the pricing service defaults to 1x, protecting riders from overcharges. Major curveball came when the interviewer asked about handling surge pricing across city boundaries, where hexagonal zones overlap different regulatory regions. Some cities cap surge pricing, while others ban it entirely. Emily's answer was vague, suggesting a config per city, but the interviewer pressed for details on how the global Flink job applies regulatory rules per hex. This exposed a gap in her preparation. She hadn't considered multi-region regulatory compliance in depth. This moment marked a turning point in the interview, highlighting the importance of edge case handling. Instead of simply pointing at boxes, Emily narrated a user journey through her diagram. She described a rider in Brooklyn opening the app, their location converted to an H3 Hex ID, and the pricing service checking Redis for the surge multiplier. The rider sees the surge price, while the Flink job updates supply counters in real time. This narrative technique helps interviewers visualize a living system, not just a static architecture. It's a powerful way to demonstrate understanding and make complex systems relatable. After the system design stumble, Emily entered the behavioral round feeling rattled. The question was about disagreeing with a technical decision. She shared a story using the STAR-L method, advocating for event-driven architecture over polling, building a proof of concept, presenting latency data, and addressing concerns about Kafka complexity. The result was a 60% drop in CPU usage. Her learning: data wins arguments, not opinions. While she felt good about this round, it couldn't compensate for weaknesses in system design. 3 days after the interview, Emily received a rejection email from Uber. The message was polite but clear. She could reapply after 6 months. She asked her recruiter for feedback and learned that, while her system design fundamentals were strong, she didn't demonstrate sufficient depth in cross-region system complexity and edge case handling. The translation: she knew the happy path but not the edge cases well enough. This feedback was valuable and pointed to areas for improvement in future interviews. Emily didn't let rejection stop her. She reflected on what she could do differently next time. Her new playbook includes spending half her system design prep on failure modes, regulatory constraints, and multi-region complexity. She plans to read the Uber engineering blog cover to cover, practice with follow-up pressure, and record herself narrating diagrams under challenge. These strategies are designed to address the gaps exposed in her interview and prepare her for the curveballs that senior roles demand. Emily's first step is to focus on edge cases. She dedicates 50% of her prep to failure modes, regulatory constraints, and multi-region complexity. The happy path diagram is important, but mastering edge cases is what distinguishes senior candidates. She recognizes that generic system design practice isn't enough. Real interviews require deep thinking about what happens when things go wrong or when regulatory rules change. This shift in focus is critical for advancing to higher engineering levels. Emily plans to read Uber's engineering blog in detail. The blog covers actual architecture decisions, including H3, ringpop, and schemaless. She realizes that company-specific knowledge is essential for interviews at Uber. Reading the blog gives her insights into real-world solutions and prepares her for questions that go beyond generic system design. Next time, she'll be ready to reference Uber's actual engineering practices and demonstrate deeper understanding. Emily recognizes the importance of practicing under follow-up pressure. Generic system design questions didn't prepare her for regulatory zone curveballs. She now uses mock interviews on platforms like Pram and studies company-specific follow-up questions on Prac Hub and Glassdoor. Practicing with someone who pushes back helps her build resilience and readiness for real interview scenarios. This approach ensures she won't freeze when faced with unexpected questions. Emily adds another layer to her preparation by recording mock sessions. Narrating diagrams to a mirror isn't the same as doing it under challenge. She records herself using Excalidraw and watches her own performance, noting where she stumbles. This process is painful but effective, helping her identify weaknesses and improve her communication skills. Recording mock sessions is a practical way to simulate real interview conditions and build confidence. Emily shares her Uber system design cheat sheet, distilled from her mistakes. The key takeaway is to prepare for curveballs, not just architecture. Study actual interview questions and always be ready for the question after the question. This mindset shift is essential for senior engineering interviews, where depth and adaptability matter more than memorized diagrams. Her cheat sheet is a practical guide for anyone aiming to succeed in system design interviews at Uber or similar companies. Emily admits that rejection still stings, but she now knows more about Uber's system design than most candidates. She has the diagram, failure modes, and edge cases that cost her the offer. Next time, she'll be ready for the follow-up questions. Her journey is a reminder that failure is a powerful teacher, and preparation is about more than just technical skills. It's about anticipating challenges and learning from experience. System design interviews are crucial for senior engineering roles. They test not only technical knowledge, but also the ability to handle ambiguity, scale, and real-world constraints. Uber's process is especially rigorous, focusing on real-time systems, global scale, and regulatory complexity. Candidates must demonstrate depth, adaptability, and resilience. Emily's experience highlights the importance of preparing for both the happy path and the edge cases, as well as communicating clearly under pressure. Understanding both functional and non-functional requirements is key in system design interviews. Functional requirements define what the system must do, like computing surge multipliers per zone and ingesting real-time supply and demand. Non-functional requirements address how the system performs: latency, scale, availability, and accuracy. Emily's approach to clarifying these requirements set her apart, but missing depth in edge cases ultimately cost her the offer. Balancing both types is essential for robust system design. Uber's H3 hexagonal indexing system is a core concept in their surge pricing architecture. It partitions geographic space into uniform hexagons, each with a unique ID. This allows for accurate demand spread calculations and efficient mapping of supply and demand. Understanding H3 is critical for designing scalable, real-time systems at Uber. Emily's knowledge of H3 impressed her interviewer and demonstrated company-specific preparation. The surge calculator is implemented as a streaming job, often using Apache Flink. It runs every 30-60 seconds, ingesting supply and demand counters and computing pricing multipliers. Streaming jobs are essential for real-time systems, enabling rapid updates and scalability. Handling failures, such as job crashes, requires robust fallback mechanisms like stale cache and circuit breakers. Emily's explanation of streaming surge calculation showed her grasp of real-time architecture. Neighbor hex blending is a technique used to prevent extreme surge pricing in isolated zones. If a hex has no drivers but adjacent hexes have supply, the system blends data from neighboring hexes to avoid unrealistic multipliers. This approach ensures fairness and accuracy in pricing, especially in densely populated cities. Emily learned about the KRing neighbor function from Uber's H3 documentation, highlighting the value of deep company-specific research. Historical baselines are used to distinguish normal demand patterns from event-driven spikes. For example, a Friday night in Manhattan always has high demand, but a concert night may push demand even higher. The surge calculator layers in historical data to adjust multipliers appropriately. This ensures pricing reflects real-world conditions, not just raw supply and demand. Emily's inclusion of historical baseline showed her understanding of dynamic system behavior. External signals like weather, event calendars, and traffic data are integrated into the surge pricing system. These signals provide context for demand spikes and help adjust pricing multipliers in real time. For example, bad weather or major events can increase demand, requiring higher surge pricing. Integrating external data sources is a hallmark of robust system design, ensuring the system adapts to real-world conditions. Handling failure modes is essential for reliable system design. Emily described fallback mechanisms like stale cache, dead letter queue, and circuit breakers. These ensure the system remains operational even during outages or crashes. Failure mode handling protects users from overcharges and maintains trust in the platform. Senior candidates must demonstrate robust strategies for dealing with failures, not just the happy path. Regulatory compliance adds complexity to global systems like Uber's surge pricing. Different cities have surge caps or bans, requiring the system to apply rules per region. Handling overlapping hex zones and regulatory boundaries is challenging. Emily's lack of depth in this area was a key reason for her rejection. Preparing for regulatory edge cases is vital for senior engineering roles, especially in companies operating worldwide. Narrating a diagram as a user journey helps interviewers visualize a living system. Emily's approach turned a static architecture into a dynamic story, making complex systems relatable. This technique is powerful for communicating, understanding, and engaging interviewers. Practicing diagram narration under challenge builds confidence and clarity, essential for system design interviews. Behavioral interviews test soft skills like communication, teamwork, and conflict resolution. Emily used the STAR-L method to structure her answer, focusing on situation, task, action, result, and learning. Data-driven decisions and proof-of-concept demonstrations are effective strategies. While strong behavioral rounds are important, they can't compensate for weaknesses in technical system design. Feedback from recruiters is invaluable for growth. Emily learned that her fundamentals were strong, but she lacked depth in edge case handling. Constructive feedback helps identify areas for improvement and guides future preparation. Embracing feedback and using it to refine strategies is essential for career advancement, especially in competitive tech roles. Mastering edge cases is what distinguishes senior candidates from mid-level engineers. Emily's new approach dedicates half her prep to failure modes, regulatory constraints, and multi-region complexity. Edge case mastery ensures robust system design and readiness for real-world challenges. Practicing with curveballs and unexpected questions builds resilience and adaptability. Preparing for interviews at companies like Uber requires deep knowledge of their engineering practices. Emily plans to read the Uber engineering blog in detail, learning about H3, ringpop, and schemaless. Company-specific preparation gives candidates an edge and demonstrates genuine interest. Referencing real-world solutions in interviews shows depth and commitment. Mock interviews are essential for building confidence and readiness. Emily uses platforms like Pramp and studies company-specific follow-up questions. Practicing under pressure and with curveballs prepares candidates for real interview scenarios. Mock interviews help identify weaknesses and improve communication skills, making candidates more resilient. Recording mock sessions and reviewing performance is a practical way to improve. Emily records herself narrating diagrams and watches for stumbles. This process helps identify communication gaps and build confidence. Self-recording simulates real interview conditions and accelerates learning, making candidates more prepared for high-pressure scenarios. Preparing for curveballs, unexpected questions, and challenges is essential for senior interviews. Emily's experience shows that generic system design practice isn't enough. Candidates must anticipate regulatory, failure, and edge case questions. Practicing with curveballs builds adaptability and ensures readiness for real-world scenarios. Emily's journey highlights the importance of a mindset shift. Success in system design interviews requires depth, adaptability, and resilience. Candidates must go beyond memorized diagrams and prepare for the question after the question. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity and focusing on continuous improvement is key to advancing in tech careers. Preparing for Uber interviews involves studying their actual architecture, practicing with curveballs, and mastering edge cases. Emily's cheat sheet is a practical guide. Focus on failure modes, regulatory complexity, and company-specific questions. Recording mock sessions and practicing diagram narration under challenge are effective strategies. Success comes from anticipating challenges and learning from experience. Emily's actionable steps for candidates include dedicating prep time to edge cases, reading company engineering blogs, practicing with follow-up questions, and recording mock sessions. These strategies address gaps exposed in interviews and build readiness for senior roles. Candidates should focus on both technical and behavioral skills, preparing for real-world challenges and curveballs. Continuous improvement is the foundation of successful interview preparation. Emily's journey shows that learning from failure, embracing feedback, and refining strategies are essential. Candidates should view each interview as an opportunity to grow, focusing on both strengths and weaknesses. Continuous improvement builds confidence, resilience, and adaptability for future challenges. A positive interview mindset is crucial for success. Emily's story reminds us that rejection is not the end, it's a step toward growth. Candidates should approach interviews with curiosity, resilience, and a willingness to learn. Preparing for both technical and behavioral rounds, anticipating curveballs, and embracing feedback are key elements of a winning mindset. Summarize, Emily's experience at Uber's system design interview offers valuable lessons. Clarify requirements, master edge cases, study company-specific architecture, practice under challenge, and embrace feedback. Failure is a powerful teacher, and continuous improvement is the path to success. Whether you're preparing for Uber or any tech interview, these lessons will help you build a robust strategy and increase your chances of landing your dream role. Emily's journey is a source of encouragement for all candidates. Rejection is tough, but it's also an opportunity to learn and grow. By focusing on edge cases, practicing under pressure, and studying company-specific solutions, you can turn setbacks into stepping stones. Stay resilient, keep improving, and remember that every interview is a chance to get better. Next time, you'll be ready for the follow-up. Thank you for joining this deep dive into Uber's system design interview experience. Emily's story is a reminder that preparation goes beyond technical skills. It's about anticipating challenges, mastering edge cases, and communicating clearly. Use these lessons to refine your interview strategy and approach each opportunity with confidence. Good luck on your journey to landing high-paying engineering roles. If you're preparing for system design interviews, take Emily's lessons to heart. Focus on edge cases, practice under challenge, and study company-specific architecture. Record mock sessions, embrace feedback, and continuously improve. Your journey may have setbacks, but each step brings you closer to success. Stay motivated, keep learning, and prepare for the question after the question. You've got this.